All right, pre-cal students, this time let's say we've got something like this. We've got a trig equation where we've got one of the reciprocal functions. So this isn't our heavy three, our sine, cosine, or tangent, the ones that we really got nailed down. This is secant, which is one of our reciprocal functions, and we're trying to solve. Now we could absolutely take the inverse secant of both sides and then solve it that way. But sometimes we don't have those ones memorized, right? Those ones are harder, because they're a little bit different. So what we can do is we can go ahead and actually change this into sines and cosines or tangents. Now secant is 1 over cosine. So I'm going to start by just writing that out as 1 over cosine. Okay, that's equal to, now I'm going to go ahead and make this negative root 2 over 1, and you'll see why in a second. Now, I can't take the inverse cosine of both sides until cosine is in the numerator. Right now it's in the denominator, so it can't stay there. I need it in the numerator. So to do that, there's a bunch of steps I can show you, but the easy way to remember it is just, if you've got a fraction on both sides of the equal sign, just flip them. So if I flip 1 over cosine, that would be cosine theta over 1, and then that would be equal to 1 over negative root 2. Okay? Now 1 over negative root 2, I showed another video about how to simplify this and how to actually make it nice, is going to turn into, I got to multiply by root 2 over root 2. Okay, so what will happen there is this will turn into negative root 2 over 2. Check out that other video if you want more info on how to simplify those ones. Now over here this will just be cosine. Anything over 1 is just itself. Okay, now I've got one of my heavy hitters, cosine. Now I can do the inverse cosine of both sides. And that's a lot simpler than doing that with secant. Okay, so then we get theta equals inverse cosine of negative root 2 over 2. Okay, and so then we get theta equals, and then cosine, inverse cosine of negative root 2 over 2. Root 2 over 2 is the over 4 family, so there's going to be 2 of them. And then where cosine is negative is the second and the third quadrant, so that's going to be 3 pi over 4. And then in the third quadrant, that would be 5 pi over 4. And that is how we change one of the reciprocal functions, like secant, into one of our regular ones, like cosine, so it's a lot easier to solve the trig equation.